I think Johto fixed Kanto. Now, hear me out. I know very few will agree with me. But when you look at Pokemon like Crobat, Steelix, Scizor, Kingdra and Umbreon, it really feels like Johto took a bunch of Kanto Pokemon and made them so much better. So today I'm putting that theory to the test. I'm attempting a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon HeartGold using only Pokemon that Johto added to existing Kanto evolution lines. There's just one catch. I can't use the original Kanto Pokemon in battle. If I can beat HeartGold's hardcore Nuzlocke with this team, maybe Johto really did fix Kanto. But there's only one way to find out. Yeah, the Johto games are infamous for not really using Johto Pokemon and Johto Pokemon not being available in the Johto region, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the Johto Dex. And I know a lot of people hate the Pokédex, but I have a huge brain and I can see that it is excellent and miles clear of the Gen 1 Pokédex. Anyway, the eagle-eyed viewers among you will have already noticed that the starters are not eligible in this run, and due to the rule I have set where I can't use Kanto Mons, we can't just catch a Zubat and call it a day. So I call up Nintendo and get some of their patented Nintendo magic to give us an Eevee. Now yes, it's a Kanto Mon, but the two new evolutions introduced in this gen do not require a stone to evolve, so we will be able to use it soon enough. We get some Pokeballs and the Pokédex, and the run officially begins. I then run up and down my neighbourhood until it's night, and by then our starter and I have become best buddies, so after we knock out an owl, it evolves into an Umbreon, and now our run begins. And the early game is going to be super tough, but this Mon is actually insane. And the first gym is upon us, and this is a fairly simple one. With our huge defences, unless they have super effective damage, we can just outlast them. And that is exactly what we do to Falkner here. Pidgey falls without lowering our attack once, which is phenomenal, and then we get the ace down to -6 defence before taking it out with a few tackles. Lovely jubbly. Sound as a pound. Yeah, and look, we all know what comes next. Bugsy and his annoyingly buff Scyther. Yeah, Umbreon literally stands no chance. So I did a little research, and using the Pokewalker, I can venture up the rugged road and encounter a Magby. We can't evolve this little guy, so it is merely fodder, but it will help us against the second gym. And when I say it helped us, I mean it destroys the bugs, like it literally incinerated them. First we burn them with our flame body ability, nerfing their lead into the ground, and the rest is purely elementary. Cheeky, I know, but perfectly legal, and it helped me get my steps in. And the final hurdle before we get to unlock the rest of our team is Whitney, the run ender, and we are going to have to get super lucky here. We managed to take out Clefairy without taking damage or becoming immobilised, which is just what we need, and this brings in her ace, Miltank. First turn they attract us and we get immobilised. Brilliant. We then get hit by a crit stomp and cannot move again. Oh dear, oh dear. Another brings us just above half, and we finally hit a payback for about a third. A stomp brings us below half before Berry, and we are mobilised again. Holy, this is just unfair. Thankfully, we avoid 2 flinches in a row and don't fall in love with the cow, and we manage to bring it down. Hopefully, I didn't use all my luck up. But the difficult section of the game is over now, and after a long grind, we can get just a couple of upgrades. After partaking in the bug catching contest and finding a cipher of our own, and grinding at the Pokathlon for a metal coat and a few other items, we can get a Scizor, which is honestly one of the goats. We can also evolve an Onix into Steelix, which is just a proven beast, such a physical wall. We get the gift Eevee from Bill, and after giving it a trim and running around a bit, we can get an Espeon, and I have heard great things about this mon, but it is yet another which I have never used. A previously caught Zubat can now fully evolve after all that running into the Johto staple that is a Crobat. And finally, a Slowpoke from Slowpoke Well can evolve into Slowking. Name a better team upgrade. Ow, wait. And obviously with this team, we absolutely dog-walk Morty. I mean, look at this team. Umbreon with stab super effective moves, as well as 2 psychic types. Johto definitely improved Kanto. And look, I won't beat around the bush, we breeze Chuck. Between Espeon and Slowking, both with stab, Psybeam or Confusion, it isn't even close. And we had Crobat in the back, in case things get messy. Anyway, after beating him, we get the Fly HM, which is great for our bat, and I head up the lighthouse to help the Ampharos, and I decide to do things a little differently. Instead of taking on Jasmine now, I head straight for the Lake of Rage, dunk on the funky looking Gyarados, and witness the President commit attempted murder with his 7-foot-tall weapon of mass destruction. And now we have the choice specs, the easiest run I've done has just got easier. Espeon can sweep through all of Team Rocket's poison types, and then he solo sweeps Price as well. Even though the best move we have is Confusion, his bulky ice types stand no chance. And then we immediately take on the Steel type leader Jasmine, and I simply use my own Steelix and press dig over and over. We OHKO both her electric types, and her Steelix puts up a fight, but we manage yet another sweep. But as we are leaving the gym, we get a call from the professor saying that Team Rocket have taken over the radio tower and are broadcasting their heinous views to the region. And look, I could build this Rocket segment up and say that we saved the world from evil, but that would be doing it an injustice. It was a bloodbath. The sheer amount of poison types were no match for our Specs Espeon and our Wall. Even Archer stood no chance, with Crobat finally getting some time to shine, and then our other defensive tank came in to secure the victory and scare off the terrorist organisation once and for all. I evolve another Mon, this one being Politoed, which will be a certified bench warmer from this run. Sorry buddy, no drizzle, no party. And now it is time for the 8th and final gym of the run, and this is another run ender that turned out trivial. With access to the move relearner, Steelix can learn the Elemental Fangs, so her lead Gyarados falls to 2 quad effective Thunder Fangs, and her ace, the bulky Kingdra, comes in, and I know Slowking is so bulky on the special side, so I set up a nasty plot, and we can win the 1v1 with Stab Confusion. And her 2 Dragonairs are handled by our starter Umbreon, who can tank all of their moves. Hell yeah, that was so simple. I love this team. She kicks off at us and says we're not worthy, so we go to the Dragon's Den where this old man tells us about the Whirl Islands, so I head straight there and I decide to pick up a horsey of my own. And then I head to the depths of Mount Mortar to not only pick up the Dragon Scale, but now we can find the Karate Master and defeat him to get a Tyrogue. And I immediately evolve both of these Mons. Scizor turns into that bulky seahorse with the goated typing, and our Tyrogue evolves into a Hitmontop. And I have used neither of these Mons, so I am buzzing to have them both on the team. The Kimono Girls can be super difficult at times, but this time they were pretty easy. Leading Crobat holding the Choice Scarf, we can outspeed all of the evolutions, and utilising U-Turn we can switch into whichever Mon perfectly matches into them. And once they are defeated, we climb the bell tower and summon the legendary Ho-Oh, and Slowking just absolutely smokes the Phoenix. We then have to take a grueling trip through Victory Road before facing down against our rival for the final time. Crobat can outspeed and OHKO his lead Sneasel with a U-turn, and we bring out Espeon as they fall. He sends out Haunter, but we can just outspeed an OHKO with a Psybeam. Golbat is out next, and the sweep continues as we get another OHKO. His starter, the best Johto starter I may add, is out, and fearing the crunch, I bring in Umbreon, who wins the 1v1 with a flurry of headbutts and paybacks, and his final 2 Mons are a joke. Even though Umbreon is weak, we still manage the KO by confusing his Steel type and chipping away at it, and his final Mon is Kadabra, and this thing literally can't touch us, so I stay in and OHKO with a payback, and with the last rival battle behind us, we emerge at the Pokemon League. And this is our team for the Elite Four. It's the tried and tested Big Six. And you know what they all do. First up is the Psychic type specialist Will, and I won't waste your time here. Scizor walls his entire team and can take all of them down with either super effective Night Slash, stab super effective Cross Scissor, and the odd stab priority Bullet Punch. They don't come much easier than that. Koga is up next, and my oh my, you know how much I hate this guy. He is so annoying, and this battle was no different. Specs Espeon gets us off to a good start by OHKOing his lead Ariados, and then he brings out his defensive Forretress, so I bring in our wall, and this is a long old slog. I fish for defense drops with Crunch as they set up toxic spikes and keep protecting. We bring them low and they heal up, and when we bring them low again, they go for an explosion, which brings us into the red. Venomoth is out now, and I go into Slowking, and we can bring them down with a few confusions, but we get brought well below half thanks to poison. Muck is out, and the only thing this can do to Scizor is increase its own evasiveness, so it's an annoying one, but a safe one nonetheless, as we eventually take it down, and his final mon is Crobat. Our Steel type's defense was brought so low by Screech, so I switch and bring in Umbreon, who can bring down the Bat. God, I hate him so much. Bruno was back to simpler ways, thankfully. Specs Espeon just absolutely demolished his team. Who needs Psychic when Psybeam does the job? We don't even take a single hit point of damage. What a mon. And the final member of the Elite Four is Karen and her Dark types. She leads with our starter and I with our Bat. We win the 1v1 and I manage to burn a full restore in the process. We are brought super low, so when her own flying type comes out, I have to switch and I bring in Steelix. I chose Steelix here as I wanted to bait in her Houndoom, the ultra scary puppy, and we bring Murkrow low, and then she switches into her dog. I bring in our bulky Slowking on a resisted flamethrower that does so little, and as they set up a nasty plot, we can KO from that range with a Surf. And now their main threat is out of the way, the rest of her team was a breeze. Espeon can OHKO Vileplume and Gengar with a Psybeam each, and Murkrow comes back out, and she just prolongs the inevitable, but Scizor picks up the KO, defeating the final member of the Elite Four. We enter the Champion's Chamber and face down against the most powerful trainer in the region, the champion, the bird boy, Lance. I lead Slowking against his Gyarados and get off a nasty plot as his Waterfall does little, a boosted Power Gem then almost KOs as he does little again, and when he full restores, I get greedy and set up another, and they bring us below half before Berry as we smash them for the KO. His first Dragonite is out and we survive a Dragon Rush super low and OHKO with a Power Gem. Come on Slowking, what a performance. His next pseudo is out and we do fall to a Dragon Rush, which is a shame, but that puts us in such a good position. Now I can bring in Steelix safely and they miss a Blizzard as our quad effective Ice Fang does huge damage. They do hit the second, but it doesn't bring us below half, so we can KO at the end of the turn, and this brings in Charizard. Umbreon brings them low and burns a heal, but we are brought too low, so Crobat can come in and avoid the move and KO the faux dragon. Aerodactyl gets walled and OHKO'd by Steelix and a single Iron Tail, and his final Dragonite is out, and this unfortunately has Fire Blast. I go into Umbreon and it connects, but we survive. Holy shit, this rabbit, cat, dog thing is so bulky. We can't stay in though, so I go into our other pet amalgamation and we tank it fairly well, but now we bait Outrage, I go into our physical wall. We take two Outrages so well and our Ice Fang brings them to half after Berry recovery. I decide to save Steelix and go into Scizor, who also takes it fairly well as they get confused by fatigue. A Bullet Punch brings them so low and they hit themselves in confusion, which unfortunately brings them into healing range so they cure the confusion. We bring them back below half and they go for a Fire Blast that connects, incinerating our Metal Bug. Thankfully our Espeon can come in and get the KO from that range. Losing 2 Monster Champion isn't the worst, but I did get attached to those two in particular. Now that the first part of the game is over and we are 2 months down, so I bring in Kingdra and Hitmontop from the bench as I sail towards Kanto, where more encounters and 8 more gym badges await us. Gloom has now reached the level where it learns Giga Drain, so I use a Sunstone to evolve it into Bellossom. I catch a Chansey in Kanto and evolve it into a Blissey, and this will partner Steelix so well. I spend a little time gambling so I can get a Porygon, and after visiting the Sylph Company we can evolve it into Porygon 2, but none of these even show their face against the most annoying trainer's daughter, Janine. I simply use Espeon and press Psybeam over and over again. Stupid family with their stupid poison types and their stupid evasion. I won't bore you with the majority of these gyms as they can be swept with only a few Pokemon. Steelix demolishes Surge with Earthquakes, thankfully no evasiveness shenanigans. Misty was a funny one because somehow Starmie KOs our grass type. Like, I know it is super effective Ice Beam, but that's a poor showing by Bellossom. Another embarrassing moment is when Brock's Omastar manages to pick up the KO on our Politoed with an ancient power. Maybe I got complacent with these gyms, as they are usually super easy, or maybe these 2 Pokemon in particular are just shit. Umbreon completely walls Sabrina, and Crobat also walls Erica's team. Quick side note, I didn't even realise you could do this. Soft Boiled is Blissey's evolutionalised signature move, but outside of battle it actually has a use. You can use it to heal your other Pokemon. It does damage Blissey a little bit, but due to its massive health pool, you can heal so much health before you even need to heal your healer. Anyway, I am prolonging this battle because Blaine royally us. It starts okay as Kingdra Oko's Mad Cargo, and we also take down the Rapidash, but we do get brought low and paralysed. Magmar comes out and sets up the sun as I bring in Porygon 2. It then outspeeds and smashes us with a crit overheat, Okoing our duck. I then bring in Espeon and misclick and press Shadow Ball and not Psychic, and then we get Oko'd again by another crit overheat. What is that look, man? As crit signal stat changes, we got done there so bad. That's not fair. Umbreon got us the win, but now we only have 6 months to get us through the 2 hardest battles in the game. And first up is Blue, the final gym leader and ex-champion of the region. He leads Executor and I with Crobat. We fire off a U-turn that does huge damage and I go into Umbreon baiting the Psychic, but they just set up Trick Room. They full restore and we bring them low again, and then they bring in Machamp. Our own fighting type can thankfully get the KO, winning the 1v1 with their fake out close combat combo, and this brings his lead back out, but as they are so weak, we can outspeed and get the KO as well. His ace is out, and expecting the air slash I go Blissey, and then expecting the physical return I go into Steelix. We do over half before Berry and they pivot into the best Pokemon ever, Arcanine. I go into Claire's ace on a quad resisted Flare Blitz that burns us, but a Surf KOs from that range. Gyarados comes out and keeps on setting up Dragon Dancers, which is super scary, but not as scary as Umbreon, who can manage to get the KO because it's just unreal. Rhydon can get smashed by a quad effective Giga Drain from Crobat, and with a double edge, Steelix can KO his ace Pidgeot, defeating Blue and claiming our 16th and final badge. And we scale the highest mountain in the region, and the final battle is upon us, and it is against Red, the most powerful trainer ever, atop the peak of Mount Silver. I lead with our ground type against the franchise mascot, and we set up a layer of Stealth Rocks as well as Sandstorm to change the weather before picking up the KO with an Earthquake. Blastoise comes out and I go into Blissey, and this is where it shows how awesome it can be. With Light Screen, Soft Boil to heal, Minimize to be annoying like Koga, as well as Charge Beam for some snowball cheese, we can easily take down Blastoise. Well, I say easily, it did take a while, but as we have the leftovers, we are still so healthy. We also smash the Lapras, like we are at full HP when it gets KO'd. Snorlax is out next, and even it couldn't avoid its fate. Charizard gets smashed by Stealth Rock, so it only takes one Charge Beam to get the KO, and his final mon is Venusaur. and this was annoying with Sleep Powder as well as resisting our only attacking move. We do eventually get poisoned by Sludge Bomb and we run out of Charge Beam PP, so I bring in Crobat, and with a Fly we KO the Venusaur, defeating Red and proving the point that Johto is so much better than Kanto. This run was so fun. Yes, I actually think Johto is better than Kanto. Not that Kanto is bad, it's just a little overrated. To be fair, I do think the Johto dex is one of the best decks in all of Pokemon, and I really think this run proved that. It improved every Kanto mon that it could. I thank all of you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more wacky Pokemon challenges. And if you have anything to add or a run to suggest, let me know down below. But with all that said, stay classy and have a wonderful, wonderful day.